Speaking for the trees, no matter where they're from. The podcast.
I think that to education, I would add the importance of media too, because a lot of people, it's there are narratives that get created by the media, intentionally and unintentionally or unconsciously, and the media and the narratives that we're hearing around, green energy right now, a lot of that messaging is coming from corporate interests. When we do then run across a fact, we're interpreting it through the view of that lens, and of the story that we're being told, of the narrative that we're hearing, and so that's a challenge too. And I don't know how different that is in Greece as compared to the United States, but in the United States, 90% of the media is owned by 5 corporations, and those 5 corporations have interlocking boards of directors with, defense companies, with energy companies, with big ag, and so it's not even necessarily a case of the ownership telling individual journalists, say this and don't say that. It's more of this culture that gets created by the fact that those are the interests that are, you're only going to make it in media, in the corporate media, if you have a certain kind of outlook and you have a certain kind of message. If you have a different kind of outlook, you're not going to be absorbed by that system. It's gonna push you out, or you're gonna become frustrated and leave, or there's so I think that the media, that's part of the struggle or whatever, in terms of all this, is to how to respond to and those narratives, and I guess it's by producing alternative narratives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's similar here. No, perhaps I should say it's the same. We've learned from you, I think. It's happening more and more in recent years. That's why I've said I say we've learned. Yes, it's the percentage is about right. The corporate media, and of course they control everything that, like the television. It's crazy. It's almost all media are on the same kind of track, and they reproduce the same kind of narratives. Yes, and that's a big problem here in Greece right now. There was this parenthesis, in a way, this small period of a left-wing party that came into power.
I heard about that.
2015, giving a lot of hope to the sort of for social justice and so on, that was lagging behind, especially during and after the crisis, the economic crisis of Europe, and I think internationally there was a crisis at the time. The end of 2009, 2010, beginning there, it was getting really dramatic in Greece, and there was this left-wing government that was formed, and they went against the sort of very, very strongly against the German and European policies that were really destroying the economy of Athens in Greece. And but that lasted only a few months. They were persuaded to switch their narratives, the Greek government, and they became a sort of they let in many changes to their policies, and in effect very quickly became in the eyes of the people, became a sort of an equivalent to a right-wing policy. So now the right wing came back, which has always been. Greece has had mostly right-wing governments or socialist governments that were a bit corrupted and didn't produce the goods. It was all about the money. Take money from where? Nobody knew. So there was a crisis, this sort of thing. And so we now have a very, very strongly set government, which is neoliberal. Is that the correct?
Yep, that's it.
And it's strongly pushing towards privatization of everything, even water, education, and so on. And it's controlling all the media. And this is really, as you said just before, bringing things to a very, very tight sort of condition, very difficult situation. Because it's very difficult for the truth to come out and inform people. People are scared and are not participating. The movements are generally very low profile these days in Greece. People are not even going to vote. Voting in Greece was once upon a time a very big thing, and now only 40 to 50% of the population is voting, which is of the existing population, yes, is voting for in the elections, and that is a dramatic sort of decline, very bad. So yes, the media are ruling. The media rule. And if we're talking about climate, if you object to the main narrative, you become immediately a fossil fuel advocate and
Right. Yeah.
a climate denier and so on.
Yeah.
Even if you say right from the start that I believe that we have a problem with the climate, we have a big climate crisis, and we must do something about it. But if you say that it may not be our priority to do something about CO2, if we cannot actually do anything as it appears, because nothing has changed. We have 28 COPs, and it hasn't been going really anywhere forward as far as fossil fuel is concerned. Also, we're having wars still for fossil fuels, and so let's try other things. But the other things are not liked by the politicians. And as a very dear, he's sort of a very dear friend. Not exactly. I haven't met him either. But he's Walter Jena. I don't know if you've come across him at all.
Name's familiar.
He's an amazing guy from Australia. As he says in one of his presentations, politicians have only a 4 or 5 or this kind of year period to think about and be sort of worried and design policies, because that's how much they will be around. That's how far they predict that they will be around. Whereas what we need is a much longer term, and we should, as communities, try and work, communities work and do things on the ground. And as he says, anything matters, even if you have pots of plants in your balcony, whatever you do to conserve water and soil and ecosystems matters as to what happens to our climate. So, and this kind of narrative is not catching.
Yeah.
There is a lot of progress, though. I think I've become more optimistic, because there are more and more. This kind of thing is part of the discussion. This land use and vegetation and forests matter and trees matter. I like the title of your series very much. It's very interesting. That's how I first came to meet you on the internet.